The J. Michael Show.
We have a wonderful show for you this time. A musician right here from Texas. In fact, she's in my town of Waco. Let's meet Katie. Katie, say hi.
Katie Greetings. Stewart. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Katie Stewart. She is a wonderful musician. I've actually seen you live play a couple of times. Tell the audience about you and what you do, your music.
Yeah, so it's typically just me and a guitar. I've recently brought on Jay Smith to play lead guitar behind me. He's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I didn't really start playing live music until I moved to Waco. I trained classically with my piano. I started around 6 or 7 and started competing around age 8 and just kept going. And I loved it. Piano is my first instrument, and a lot of people don't know that. But I was kind of like a poet and didn't know it. Yeah. And then when I moved to Waco, I had just recently picked up a guitar. I'd always wanted to learn how to play. And, just for one reason or the other, and piano and life, I just didn't. And then I moved here and I met a wonderful group of songwriter friends here in Central Texas. And it just kind of like blew my mind because one of them said, well, do you do your own music? I was like, well, no, I don't. Why not? And so then I started putting my material together, and then it was just like, kind of took off from there. And so I've gone from playing all the time to playing sometimes, and, just between life, and I went back to school and I got married and I had my daughter and just like all the things. And so sometimes I get to play more than others, but right now I wish I could be playing a little bit more than I am.
Well, it would be difficult to drag a piano out to concert, so a guitar is a lot easier.
Yes. And I've moved my piano an ungodly amount of times, and I have recruited friends. And one time, one of my friends, we were in the middle of moving my piano downstairs. Why I thought to put it in a rental upstairs is beyond me. And he's like, Katie, why didn't you just play the harmonica? So I was like, well, sorry, it's the piano. But yes, playing guitar, it's so interesting because I felt so constrained in the sense of key signatures or time signatures or whatever, all the things, all the manuscript I felt bound to when I was playing piano. And so, I would hear pieces and things that had lyrics and I would want to sing along. I thought, well, I can't get that high or I can't get that low. And then having the guitar to be able to transpose anything I wanted and sing it how I want to, it was just kind of like a creative explosion of possibilities.
Well, what was the first song that you wrote?
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, that's a great question. The first song that I wrote that I actually wanted to play out. Man, we're going back in the phones here, Jay.
Uh-oh.
I can't remember. I want to say, now I remember the first cover I wanted to do with St. James Infirmary. Uh-huh. And I think around that time, I don't know. Maybe High Tech World's in one of the earlier days, but that wasn't the first one. Okay, yeah. I'm going to have to get back to that because now I'm perplexed. I don't remember.
I got you on that one.
You did. Well, you did. I'm going to have to go back.
What was the first concert you played where you were? Was it here in Waco?
Yes, it probably would have been. When I first started playing out, I was playing in our little song circle, and then I was connecting with some local people, and I played quite a few benefits where I wasn't playing a full set, but I would play, 2, maybe 5 songs at a time. And then probably the first time I played out at a proper show was probably at the Grape in Waco.
Yeah, in fact, it used to be right around the corner from where I lived, and so I think that's where I saw you first, was at the Grape, and then I think I saw you in West.
I played some benefits out in West.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you have a new album coming out. Let's talk about that album. When does it come out?
So Well, I was hoping for 26, but I'm not sure if it's going to make it in 26. We've had some delays in the studio with renovations and stuff, so it's been a little bit more slow going than I thought. But, the first album was just to get it out and get it done. I want to do it. I've been talking about it for too long. It's time.
Right.
And I think this one, I want to be, I don't want to say more meaningful, but I want it to be. Recording an album is so hard.
Yeah.
And then when you do it by yourself, people don't understand the amount of time, coordination, money for the studio time,
Right.
the distribution. There's so many things behind it that people don't understand or realize.
Yeah.
And so for this one, I think I want to nurse it a little bit more. I want to make sure that it's just like I like it.
Right.
Jace is going to be playing some songs with me,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some things that I want to maintain. So I want to maintain a very, I hesitate to say authentic because that implies other people aren't, or other things aren't. But I want a really authentic, genuine sound. So like when you come and hear me play live, that's pretty much what I want you to hear on the album. Maybe a little bit of brushes and snare, and maybe a little bit of harmonica or something here and there. But I want it to sound very similar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
when I was a kid.
Processing.
Yeah, no. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not my style. And I want people to know, like, there's nothing worse for me to hear an album and be like, oh man, I love that. And then go listen to somebody live and be so disappointed.
Yeah, because it's just not the same. Yeah.
It's not.
So what was your first album?
So first album, I was about to say High Tech World. That's not the name of it. It's Haunted. So I wrote Haunted, that title track, I think 21 or 22.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I wanted that to be the title track because there were a few other tracks that were kind of along that same realm of more of a minor key, a little bit more heavier content, if you will, in the sense of just beefier subjects, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
And I knew that there were going to be some covers in there. So Death Letter Blues, love Sun House, had to do Death Letter Blues. It's just one of my favorites. And then St. James Infirmary was really special to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of artists wrote during the pandemic. So was Haunted a pandemic album?
I guess you could say, in a way. I think we all kind of had this self-reflection of, okay, now what?
Right.
What if this, it's so crazy. Like, what if this is the end, But we all had that self-reflection. Have I achieved the things I want to achieve? Have I really gone for the things that take a risk or are a little bit scarier? And one of the things that for me was an album. Mm-hmm. And I was so sick of sitting around and talking about it. And then we had kind of come around the other side of the pandemic, but still very early stages. And there was a little songwriting crew that met at the saloon downtown. And it was just like this little slice of paradise in the pandemic. We all knew that things were crazy and we had all, taken the appropriate safety measures we thought we could. And at one point or another, you think, well, is it better to lose your mind by yourself or is it better to lose your health with your friends?
Exactly.
But yeah, I did write that song during the pandemic and I tried to write others, but it didn't seem natural. It felt like one of those things where you're in it and the material is there, but you can't really see the material until you're on the other side of it, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay, so on this album, what is your favorite track to play?
Of Haunted?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would say probably Breakfast Blues. I love playing Breakfast Blues. Uh-huh. It's simple but effective, and I think that's some of the best material that I like as well as a consumer is, there's all these cool things you can do and all these, especially Jace, he's like, he can do all these wild riffs and stuff. And I'm like, sometimes simple is just, it just hits you where it hurts, it grabs your attention. And I think for me, that's Breakfast Blues.
Okay. What is the most requested song that you get asked to play?
Of my own or just overall?
Overall.
I get a lot of Janis Joplin requests.
Uh-huh.
I've actually gotten, I'm drawing a blank. What's her name? She sang Revolution. She's recently had another cover come out. I can't. I cannot think of her name. But I would definitely say Janis Joplin. And I play some Willie. And so anytime I play Willie Nelson, then somebody's always got an alternative request. And so I kind of like that because Willie is definitely one of my all-time favorites.
Why is Willie your favorite? What is it about him that's different?
I think at the first and most basic is he's just a damn good songwriter. I think, in today's modern, my contemporaries, I think, well, I say my contemporaries, I shouldn't necessarily say that because there's a lot of local people who really can appreciate the classic stuff. But Willie's stuff was, it still is, but his between the 70s and early 80s, he was like pushing out some good material. I also like that he's always just like, Willie's been Willie. He left Nashville and then he just said, I'm just going to be Willie. And either you like it or you don't. And here's who I am. And I just have always admired that risk and confidence that he had to just do it.
Did you go see him in concert last month?
I wanted to so bad. That's one of the things I have not done is I have not seen him live in concert. And I'm hoping that I don't regret that. The timing has never worked for me with my schedule, whether it be my daughter or I'm out of town or there's always something. But I did see when he had, I think this was 2 or 3 years ago, he had the Willie's 90th and they played it in the theaters in select places.
Right.
And that they had like Billy Strings and Charlie Crockett and his sons were on there. I remember watching that in the theater, just being like overloaded with emotion in so many different capacities. And I don't know if I could handle seeing Willie live.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you if you had ever met him, but apparently not.
No.
He just lives down the road from us here.
I know. And it's so funny. My grandmother, she's since passed, but she was originally from Tours and, right around West area. And then for the rest of her life, lived in Waco. And she would tell me, we'd sit around, listen to records when I was a teenager and I come to visit her. And I remember asking her, did you ever meet Willie Nelson? And she goes, I remember him playing. She's like, I remember him playing these shitty little bars and we didn't think he was going anywhere. And she's like, boy, we were wrong.
I used to, years ago, I had a guitar that he played. It was hung up in a bar in New Orleans for years, but he had come in there one day and they handed him the guitar and he played it. I really wish I had kept that guitar now. Because it might
you don't have it?
No, I don't have it anymore.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to have it insured now.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Wow,
so
no, that's incredible.
Let's talk about, besides Willie, who inspires you the most?
Oh, man. I would say I have a wide variety. So since I was a child, I have always loved Frank Sinatra. I have always loved Andrea Bocelli, Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan. I wasn't really introduced to Bob Dylan's music until I moved to Waco. Obviously he was in the zeitgeist, but I never really followed his music. And then that was another just like explosion of learning. But I was living in Fort Worth and I went to the public library and they had CDs, CDs were still like totally a thing. And I got this CD of Ramblin' Jack Elliott. And that, I feel like, especially that St. James Infirmary kind of pivoted me into more of the blues. And I've always had an affinity for the blues, but I never, I guess, had the direction of what blues I liked. And I think between Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, old school Frank, love anything basically Broadway. But then you throw in Blind Willie McTell, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Mississippi John Hurt, Lightning Hopkins, Sun House, Ma Rainey, Big Mama Thornton. It's just like, have my heart. I'll put it on a silver platter for you because I love it so much.
These are all artists that are well before your time in some ways. So how did you discover them?
Well, I think I'd go back to the songwriter circle that I have. Jeff Ward and Bill Doss have been longtime songwriters in the area, and they both have a very wide, eclectic range of music that they listen to and enjoy. My dad was actually a DJ. He grew up here in Waco and did like house parties and stuff in high school. And so he had a wide variety of music. And so I always grew up knowing all genres and before my time. I mean, I was listening to Frank Sinatra in high school and in junior high. I mean, nobody else was doing that. They were listening to, mainstream, whatever was on the radio. Yeah. And so when they introduced me, like, you should listen to this, you should look that up and look this up, I was completely open to that, and I think I have to work on being open to listening to more new material, because so many times people say, hey, you got to listen to this. And I'm like, well, if it's from this century, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think just that exposure from them.
So what triggers you to write a song? When you start to write a song, do you literally sit down and go, okay, today at 2:00, I'm going to write a song? Or do you just drive by and see something and go, I could write a song about that? Tell me about your songwriting process.
So I would say in the early days, it's just me and my dog, my instruments. So I surrounded myself with it. I always had my instruments out. I always had my songbooks singular, and it was just like this huge cluster of papers, and just as you would imagine, just like, Yeah. And so it was a different process then. Mm-hmm. I think at that point it was like my favorite time to write was in the morning, like mid-morning after coffee, before even I've had breakfast, just with the morning light, and just kind of reflect on the past couple of days. And I think I've said this before with others, but I would sit down and go, just kind of, I usually would strum. I think maybe the piano influence of having the music first and then the lyrics, but I would kind of strum and find something I liked. And then I would try to write something, and I would know that, okay, this is junk. Let's now that we've gotten through the weeds here, let's really get to the soil. Like, what are we really wanting to write about? Yeah. And that's where a lot of good work came from. But now it is a little bit more, I don't want to say mechanical, but I have a show coming up. And so I've had to block time going, okay, I need to rehearse here and I need to rehearse here. Yes. Because life gets crazy. We were just talking before. We have HVAC flooding system going on right now in our house. So life goes on, and the next thing you know, it's showtime. But now, honestly, I get a lot of my ideas when I'm driving. Yeah. I drive a lot. I take my daughter places, and I love, taking in the sunshine and, whether it's raining or taking in the landscape, and even observing how the landscape changes with progress or that sort of thing. I get a lot of reflection, and I have a lot of audio notes in my phone and scribbles on pieces.
A lot of artists have a drawer somewhere with a bunch of napkins where they jotted something down that later became a song. Exactly.
Yes, and I've even thought, I have so many of those like on my notes in my phone, and then also written, that to your point, I'm like, I think I need to probably just stop and print everything I have and get it visible in one spot, because it's getting a little bit out of control.
Right. What is the biggest venue you've played, and then the furthest away from here that you've gone to play?
Yeah, great question. So recently I played at Green Hall, which was awesome. It was not just my show. It was with Harmony Sisters, which is a nonprofit in Austin, whose sole job and mission is to support women in Texas music. So not necessarily country music per se. There were more blues, there were more pop country, there was more folk, a variety. And I loved getting to play Green Hall. That felt so surreal because, I started playing music live, pushing 15 years, something around there now. And it's like saying, oh my gosh, like I never thought I'd get to play Green Hole. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And the furthest you've gone to play, how
I
far
want
out?
to say maybe San Antonio. I mean, I know I've played the North Metro. I've played Dallas, Fort Worth. I haven't played in Houston. I didn't necessarily have a show, but I got to play a few songs at Little Bear Saloon in Colorado, which I think is somewhere near, maybe north near Manitou Springs. Don't get me lying here. No, it's in Green something. Green something.
Like Green County or something, huh?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I remember it was actually 4th of July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Because we're coming up on the 4th.
Yeah, maybe somewhere around 2014.
Oh, wow.
2015. Yeah. My cousin was living there, and I had a friend in Denver, and I found this like $100 round trip ticket to Colorado. And I was like, I can't drive there for cheap. And I certainly can't drive there for that cheap now. And so I just bought the tickets. I thought, what the hell? I'm not going to check a bag. It'll be cheap. I'll just go and make the most of it. And so we went up in the mountains, and it was warm, but it wasn't Texas hot.
Yeah.
When we left the saloon, it was rainy and cold, and I was wearing like a tank top and shorts, but it was really special to get to do that because while I didn't know a whole lot about that venue, it was definitely something like a White Elephant Saloon of Fort Worth or like a Green Hall of New Braunfels. It was kind of a known spot for music, so that felt exciting to get to play a few things there. But yeah, I guess San Antonio.
So what is your dream concert? Where would you want to play?
Everywhere. No, I mean, I don't know. I think, in Texas, I think it'd be a pretty damn big deal to get to play for the Cowboys. That would be like national anthem or something. That would be really cool. Yeah. Or, I don't know. I think for me, it's not necessarily how large. Now, granted, hell yeah, do I want to play arenas and do the thing? Of course I do. But I think there's something to be said for the intimacy of a little cocktail bar or, of a little house concert or like the Red Caboose Winery. I know you've come in there a few times to see me. Yeah. There's something special about that because you have this intimate environment where your audience is very engaged. I remember the first time I played a show that like people were actually listening. Yeah. They weren't just slinging beer, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to pull out the big guns then. If y'all are actually going to listen, I'll play you some good material.
Exactly. Well, that's why I don't like to go to bars because you can't hear the artist very well. And a lot of times they're not playing their best because they know people are drunk and not paying attention. But when you were at the Grape, it was just so easy to just walk up to you and ask you to play a particular song, and you did. Sure. That kind of connection is necessary,
Absolutely. Yeah. And, it's funny that venue in particular, my aunt was living in Dallas at the time, and there was a gentleman at the bar that came over to me kind of in the middle of, not necessarily a break, but, he didn't interrupt the song. Yeah. And he just came up to me and said, I know your aunt. And I was just like, wait, what? It was just such a weird, like, I was like, how? And so after the break, I said, okay, I need to know more information. Who are you? And how do you know my aunt? Yeah. And so to your point, I think there's like Lounge 93. I play there frequently. There's a wonderful wall that is broken there. Now, sometimes you don't want that wall to be broken, but it's a wonderful wall to be broken to where I've numerous times had their patrons come and say, hey, we really like this, or, we saw you were coming to play. We wanted to come and see you. And that is so much more impactful and meaningful and reminds you as an artist, like, okay, this is why you're doing what you're doing. It's bigger than you. And it sounds so cheesy to say that, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, a lot of artists also have a table with merch. So do you have your CDs? What kind of merch do you have?
So I had some stickers, but I don't know if I have stickers anymore. I do still have T-shirts. I've had T-shirts since Haunted came out. And, shows were kind of slow going after COVID. And now, they're starting obviously to get back to normal since then. I mean, it's been years now, it seems like, which is so weird to say that. But right now I just have t-shirts. I do want to get some more shirts and more stickers, but I used to have CDs, but since I did distribution on all the streaming platforms,
right,
someday I would really like to do a special wax press. I really wanted to do that, but oh my gosh, you talk about an independent artist. Good Lord, it's like an arm and a leg. I'm like, we're going to have to crowdsource for a recording press.
Exactly. Vinyl is coming back, but it's very expensive for an artist now. CDs are cheaper; they're coming back too. But something that I noticed that now it's returning is the iPod. People are downloading music and putting it on. There's a new version of an iPod that's out now.
Okay, that's news to me. That's good to know.
People, because that way you're not streaming it, waiting for a commercial to get over.
Oh gosh, no kidding.
You're listening directly to the music that you've downloaded.
Right. Right.
People can do that on their phone, but people like to separate their music.
Right, and you can emotionally and physically separate. How many times do we want to change the song or pick something, and then we've gotten derailed by a message or some other thing that's distracting, and now we've totally forgot. Well, what was that song I was going to look up?
Exactly. Yeah.
But,
and I'm old school. I like to have the liner notes. I like to be able to pick the CD up and read the different cuts, and then something that the artist has written that's in there. I'm old school. I want that,
I'm exactly the same way. So what's it called? I think it's International Independent Record Store Day. That's a mouthful. I'm pretty sure that's right. And it was in April.
Yeah.
And I went to the oh my gosh, Spin Connection here in Waco. And I think they've actually just recently closed their brick and mortar, but I bought, I had actually gone in there like a couple of weeks before and I had no idea about this special day. And I was looking for just some old blues because I love listening to it, but I didn't have any 33s. And he had told me, hey, I've got on order a Ma Rainey 33. And I was so excited. I said, okay, well, I'm coming back. So I went back and it's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom Blues. And they only made like, I don't know, 1,200 copies of this particular like remake or whatever. And so I have like the number, 905 or whatever it is of that record. And on the back of the record, and maybe it's on the inside too, but to your point, I love that information. And there's so much information on there that some I knew, but the nuanced detail that had been thoroughly researched that was on, especially for Ma Rainey. I mean, like, not a lot of, people know, was it Viola Davis who played Ma Rainey, and maybe that's people's only exposure to her.
Yeah.
But those notes are like so important to me.
Exactly. Well, I'm an old person. I'm 64. I have an original Beatles Sgt. Pepper's album back there in my room.
Wow.
And I have some other originals that are probably worth something.
Yeah.
One day I would like to be able to put one of your albums in there with all my others.
Yes.
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 Let's plan that. So
I'm ready for it.
Where are you going next? Where are you going to be performing?
So July 16th, I will be at Lounge 93 in Waco, play at 7:30. Not sure yet if Jace is going to be able to join me. He's actually been in flux. He just graduated from Fire Academy, so super proud of Jace for doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping he can come. But Lounge 93, it's a linear space, so no cocktail bar or bar that's not just music is going to be a perfect spot. Yeah. But it's great because it's intimate, it's smaller. And it's fun. The cocktails are good. All the people that typically go there are a good time and like to have fun. And, it doesn't get too boisterous,
Yeah. What's your favorite place to play like that, that's small and intimate?
Honestly, I wouldn't even say it's a particular place, although I do love Red Caboose. I love doing like art openings. So I've done a variety of like wineries and art shows. Mm-hmm. And I really like that because I do feel like my style is while it's conducive to some honky tonk,
Yeah.
a lot of my stuff is more, I hate to say lyrical. That sounds cheesy, but you know, I have more messaging than I do styling, I guess, with my material. And I just feel like it's better suited for more easy listening.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily dance music, you know, like, yes, in some of the covers I do, you could easily two-step to. But I think my favorite, and I like festivals too, but I think like art openings and wine festivals and wineries more my speed.
Yeah. Do you ever go busking? Just go set up somewhere and play?
You know, I've thought about it many, many times. And for one reason or another, I haven't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really missed opportunity for me, truly just in the sense of like a learning opportunity, a growing opportunity. I have a deep connection with those that do that because I know it takes, you know, from the viewer, you know, sometimes they're like, oh, well, whatever, this person, or, oh, they're amazing. Why are they doing that? You know, there's always this like blanket assumption of whatever that might be. There's never like, let me learn about that person. What is that person's experience?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that's something I definitely want to do that I've never done.
Yeah, you could go somewhere downtown and set up just about anywhere, and you'd have an audience right there. So what kind of equipment do you have to haul around when you do your shows? Oh, yeah, here we go.
Jay, the old school one was terrible. I mean, it was like cringeworthy. It was awful. Now I use, it's basically a bow stick comparable, like it's basically subwoofer with the tower. But it never seems to like load and unload that simply. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
I've got the tub and I've got my tub has like extra batteries and, you know, Sharpies and scissors and, you know, tuning string equipment and, you know, pack strings that, you know, there's 2 in here and there's a full set in here. You know, it's like, it's never just wonderful. But it's funny you talk about sound. That is the one thing I absolutely hate so much. I hate doing sound. Hate it.
It's
so stressful.
And setting everything up. And
yeah.
Do you ever play places that literally you're simply acoustic, no amp or mic or anything?
I feel like I have. I feel like it's been a minute since I've done that. And I think at Red Caboose, actually, maybe one time maybe I left my mic or my 1/4 inch or my XLR, something happened. I feel like maybe at Red Caboose I did. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know, but for me, I don't think I have a difficult time projecting, but what I do have a difficult time if I do properly acoustic, I tend to play the guitar a little bit quieter unless I'm playing with a thumb pick. And that's where I struggle is like, can you even hear my guitar, you know?
Right. That was going to be my next question was projecting. Is that a problem for you?
Not necessarily. I mean, if I have a monitor, not a problem at all. But in the past, I've had issues with monitors. So a lot of times I don't use one. And I think I'm going to start using one again because you don't realize how much you're actually straining to hear yourself and it's not working. You just continue to strain, and then at the end of the night you're like, golly, you know, I've had only 1 tequila. Why do I feel like, you know, I've eaten a tree? You know? So it's a lot of it is just rehearsing, you know, and learning, remembering your breath on this particular song and powering from your diaphragm and not from your throat and those sorts of things.
Noelle, do you use any pedals or anything that enhances the music electronically, or is it all just straight mic into the amp?
It's pretty much straight mic into the amp. I mean, obviously a little bit of mixing for vocals and a little bit for the guitar, because a lot of times I've noticed just from various sound people that the tendency is to bring it into more of the treble. And while I do typically right now, I play a Taylor, So it's a little bit brighter anyway.
Right.
I prefer my guitar to be just a little less trebly, but then the treble is fine. The treble and the treble. The treble of the treble too much is then now, or excuse me, of the bass is now you're having this fight.
Yeah.
The bass of the guitar and the bass of the vocals. But I am old school. And honestly, it's not even I'm old school. I don't know how to do all that pedal shit. It's wonderful and it's amazing. And I've seen it being done very tastefully, but I can't. I don't.
Well, some people might have a looper just to loop one piece of music and then play to that. You mentioned that you play with this other person, but do you ever play with a band?
I have not yet. So ultimately, that is something I want to do. I have not. Part of the reason it's taken me so long to find a guitar player is because it's a delicate balance. I found players that either have the talent, didn't quite have the commitment, or was ready to commit, just quite wasn't ready yet in the talent realm. And so Jace, when I met him and heard him play and saw him, I thought, okay, I think he's the right balance. And I mean, we met at George's and had conversation and, basically interviewed each other to see if this would be the right fit. And it's been great. So my next goal, is, okay, so now we have a guitar player. What's the next addition that we're going to have? Where is the meat of my sound and what is truly missing? And so that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out right now, because ultimately I do want to have a band. Yeah. If nothing else, to expand my sound and audience, but then also to be able to have access to different venues, because when you're a two-piece duo or band or whatever, you can't, you can't fill this big old stage. I mean, it just looks silly.
Exactly. Well, even just a drummer or a keyboard player would be good.
Right.
Or you could play the backtracks. Do you ever do that?
I haven't. I don't know. I think for me, I've always liked the word raw. Like, I think when it's raw, and if I meet somebody and we get to talking and somehow my music comes up and they go, "Oh, you sing and you play? What do you sing?" I'll just sing them something. I mean, I don't go through the whole song, but I'll just sing them something. Yeah. Because I want them to know that, hey, this is what I do. This is what I sound like. And when you come and check me out at the lounge, that's what you're going to hear. Yeah. So I think for me, I just like the raw, simple, we say off the floor, like just do it. And that's your sound kind of thing, and I think there's nothing wrong with, looping and backtracking and all that stuff. Yeah. It's just not me, I think. Right.
What is the most fun you've had on the road playing? I mean, is there a story of something that happened?
Yes. Okay. Yes, the one.
Let's hear it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Buck was our friend in our little songwriter group, and he's since passed away. He was one of the older friends of mine, and I mean, he was a character. Okay, he had what one would call a uniform. Okay, what he wore all the time was like safari khaki clothes. Okay, so if you can imagine with me, like we're thinking like what is it, Romancing the Stone? Like having this safari. But then he would have these boots where his pants were always tucked in, and he wore this big old like Tombstone style hat. Okay. Yeah. Black. It didn't matter time of year, where we were, nothing. Okay. So I'm playing in Belton at an art festival. And he's got his friend in Austin, or North Austin somewhere, that he wants me to meet a group of eclectic people, intellectuals, writers, all kinds of cool people. And he's like, I want you to come to this party. I'm like, okay, cool. So we play the show at, or I say we. He gets to lounge in the shade while I play the show. Yeah. And I'm hot and I'm sweaty. It was like in the middle of the summer. And I was on the verge of like a sunburn, and my car, my battery died. I had left who knows what. Yeah. So thankfully I had a married couple there that was always very faithful. Anytime I played in Belton and they were available, they always came and saw me. And so we became friends, and they actually ended up being related to one of our friends here in Waco. So we kind of had this little connection. So I said, oh my gosh, my car, my battery's dead. So they give me a jump. we go about our way, we're on our way. And so now me and Buck are on the road and we're headed south for the party.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Jay, I'm gross still. I haven't showered. I'm like, ick. It just, here we are, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm wearing these like wild bell bottom flower striped pants. I don't even know, you know, it's just like, here we go. So we get there and, you know, it's like the hill country and my little SUV with all my equipment and me and Buck are just like barely going up this hill, you know, and remember my car battery had just been dead.
Yeah.
So we finally get there and I'm just like, I'm ready to just change, do something like, ugh. I barely got out of my car, you know, collected my things and I come around the corner.
Yeah.
Buck has combed his hair. He now has on this like nice blue sports jacket and like has changed his shirt and his shoes. It looks like a totally different person. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And he's like, oh, it's a dinner party.
Oh.
I'm like, a dinner party? You did not tell me it was a dinner party. I'm thinking just like a get-together party.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I was so embarrassed. And so we walk into this beautiful home and have this, you know, beautiful like patio al fresco dinner party. And I'm like this ragged-looking street performer that is now, you know, Buck's plus one. And so I will never forget that because I was just like, what is happening? I didn't have a change of clothes because we were just going to drive back to Waco that night.
Yeah.
Crazy, fun, ultimately fun. Oh, but that was a long 24 hours.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, what homeless shelter did you get hurt from?
That's exactly what it felt like. Because, I mean, highly intellectual people and, you know, well-versed in all things. And I'm just like, what is happening? This is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But they were all very gracious people.
Well, it's important the way you look. And speaking of that, have you ever done the Texas Music Cafe and do you do videos?
Yes, I have been on Texas Music Cafe, I think 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Texas Music Cafe. I mean, the venues that I've mentioned earlier, I mean, that would absolutely be at the top of where I enjoy playing.
Right.
I don't have the full band to put on the full set show, which is probably why I haven't been asked to do that. And so I recognize that. But they've been so kind and gracious and thoughtful to include me in anything that might be applicable that is not too duplicated for my sound. Texas Music Cafe is wonderful, and I can't speak highly enough about them. And Casey is on their crew, Casey Pittman, and he did my mastering and the majority of the mixing on my album Haunted, and he actually plays banjo on not What Kind of World. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Walking in This World All Alone. Sorry, I was like, what track is that? Can you tell I have a toddler at home? I'm a little sleep deprived. Pardon me. So Texas Music Cafe for sure. And then what was the other part of that question that you had?
Yeah, it was, do you do videos and do you make your own or how do you go about that?
It's something I want to do more of. Yeah. I don't have a lot. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have a reliable source at my shows to just capture some content because I mean, I could set up a phone and capture it myself, but it feels so like unnatural to do that.
Yeah.
But Texas Music Cafe, Zach Owens' morning radio show that streams out of the backyard, a few of those little opportunities have been really great to offer some kind of video because honestly, before the last 2 years, I have had like no video. And that's really hard in today's world to have no video.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like, what do you mean? You don't have any video.
Have you ever had the opportunity to be on TV or play on that?
No, I've wanted to do like, I think KWTX or KVV, whatever the local channels are. I've always been interested to be like a, you know, featured artist or whatever, but I haven't done the homework to figure out how does one do such a thing. It's something I'd be interested in doing for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and I was getting back to Texas Music Cafe. There was something that they had recently, I believe. It was like female songwriters. You were featured, or were you a part of that?
Pardon me. I don't remember the name of it, but yes, it was like They featured Texas female songwriters. Yeah. And Megan Irby and, I cannot think of the other girl's name. I was next to her in the set, and they were both wonderful. I had heard about Megan. I had never met her. Mm-hmm. I hadn't heard of the girl that I played next to. I'm hating that I could not remember her name. I will have to message that to you. Yeah. They were wonderful. Those kinds of opportunities are becoming more common.
Yeah.
But it was definitely intimidating. I, wasn't sure, like, okay, I'm excited. Are they excited? Is this going to be a wonderful, like, let's support each other? Or is this going to be like, nobody talks before the show and then we just talk on stage? And it was, pardon me, it was incredible. Both of their styles were very different from one another, which was also then very different from mine. And so it was really enjoyable. And the girl that sat next to me was a little bit younger than me. Mm-hmm. And then Megan is a little bit older than me. And so it was really cool to hear material all from women from kind of different points of perspectives and stages of life and relationships. And it was just all around a really great show, I thought.
That was something I was going to ask you. Is there anyone local that you really love to go see them perform?
Admittedly, I'm kind of bad about going out and listening to music, which is so ironic. But, I do have a 3.5-year-old, so I feel like I get a free pass. But if Joel Wood is playing in town, I try to support him. He's been a big champion for me since pretty much I met him. He always tries to share my content, and I'm very grateful for that. Luke LaGrange used to play around here. I want to say he's based out of Dallas now, but anytime he was in Waco, I would try to support him. And him and Lauren January, they had a show at Lounge 93. And I hadn't played a show in like 2 years because I'd had my daughter. And I was pregnant, and then I've had her, and then I was nursing, and a show? What? That's funny. I'm sleep deprived. I'm getting 2 hours of sleep at one time. And they were playing. And they asked me to say, hey, do you want to play a song? And I was like, well, sure, and they were so kind to open that for me, because that kind of opened the door for me to do that at the lounge later on. But who was the other one I was thinking about? If Jace was still playing with his band, I would have supported him. And I try to do my best. I know that it's Jonna May. I would go out and see Jonna May. I know I haven't seen her in a while, but she's great. She was kind of in that saloon songwriter circle that I was mentioning earlier when I wrote Haunted.
Has anyone ever walked up to you and said that you inspired them?
In an indirect way, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't necessarily even say just music, because I like to do creative things across the board. And so I have had people say, oh, well, I used to do this. And I'm like, well, you should do that, and then the next time I see them, they say, hey, well, I did decide to do that, and I was just briefly chatting with a friend of mine who does podcast interviews like you. And we were talking about photography, and she was like, yeah, I used to do photography. And then just yesterday she texted me and she said, I got my camera battery is plugged in and in the wall, and you've gotten me excited to get back into my photography. And really, that's what art is, whether it's music or painting or sculpture or photography or any kind of creation, whether that be digital. It kind of, we all go through these like dry spells, and then we have to help each other. I think back in the olden times when, people would meet up at the cafes and, intellectuals would meet and try to inspire each other. And I think really that's what you have to do, because we all need each other.
Well, you've been doing this for several years. Do you have any advice for someone starting out?
Patience.
Patience. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's the hardest word. It's patience and time. Mm-hmm. Give yourself grace. Nothing happens in a vacuum, and nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so frustrating because that. Mm-hmm. And you think, oh my God, 15 years have gone by. It's like, geez, has that really been that much time?
Yeah.
But nothing happens overnight. I mean, I think of like the guy that plays in Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Bryan Cranston or something like that? Mm-hmm. Okay. How many things? Now, granted, he was in like other films and things before. But how many things was he in that nobody really knew his name? And then he had his big break.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm even thinking like Ozark. Like the lady that plays Darlene, whoa. And the lady that plays what's her name? Rudy or something.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know who those people were. And then they got their break. And
Right.
they have been doing and doing and doing and doing, and nobody knew that they were doing, you know? And it's just one of those things where, yeah, that would be the biggest advice I have is be patient, and it just takes time. And if you really love what you're doing, just keep doing it. Because honestly, I feel like half the battle, especially in the music world, is how long are you going to do it till you give up?
Right. So,
and then you really don't have a chance.
So what is next for Katie Stewart? What's happening now in your
I think my focus right now in my world, the world of Katie Stewart, I think my focus is always to continue writing. Just always writing. Even if it's nothing that turns out to be anything, just keep writing. But I really am trying to focus on developing a band and my next album. Those are my two top priorities right now. And the album is already written, ready to go. So for me, it's like if I just focus on getting that album done, continue writing, and continue attempting to expand for the band, that's all I can do. You know, I want to keep playing shows, and that's definitely important to me, and I enjoy it, and I love it. But those things have to happen before successful shows continue to expand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Katie, it's been wonderful talking with you and meeting up here. And I want to thank you for being my guest.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out and getting this coordinated. And thank you for your patience. I know it was a little touch and go there for a while.
Well, you know, the hardest part of this job is scheduling. It's not doing the shows. It's setting everything up. So thank you so much, Katie. We will see you next time on the show.
See you down the road.
Goodbye.